The city sparkled under a soft rain, lights reflecting off the wet streets like tiny stars scattered across the ground. Towering skyscrapers stretched toward the clouds, their glass walls shimmering with a golden hue from the lamps inside. Jonathan and Elise Hartman lived at the very top of one of these towers, in a mansion that stretched over several floors. Even in the city's heart of luxury and power, their lives were shadowed by a quiet sorrow. Their daughter Lily had disappeared 5 years ago, leaving a hole in their hearts that no wealth could fill. The police had searched endlessly, neighbors whispered theories, and media reporters had hounded them relentlessly, but nothing ever came of it. Lily was gone, and life had continued in a muted, hollow way. Elise often walked along the balcony at night, wrapped in her soft robe, staring at the city below. Jonathan would usually be in his study, working late on his company's interstellar projects, but tonight he had left early. Elise felt a strange urge to be alone, as if someone was calling to her. As she looked down toward the edge of the city, her eyes caught sight of a small figure walking along the wet pavement. The figure was drenched in rain but moved with purpose. It was a girl, no older than 10 or 11, and she looked up at the tower, her eyes wide and cautious. Elise's heart skipped a beat. The girl's hair was dark, soft and slightly curly, just like Lily's had been. Her eyes were the same deep green, the same bright spark that had once lit up their home. Elise gasped softly, pressing a hand to her mouth. Could it be? Could Lily really be standing there all these years later? She felt tears sting her eyes, the hope she had buried deep inside her rising suddenly. "Jonathan," she whispered almost to herself. There's someone down there." Jonathan appeared behind her, his expression calm but curious. "Who?" he asked. "Another lost child in the city? No." Elise shook her head, her voice shaking. I think she looks like Lily." Jonathan frowned, stepping closer. "Elise, it's been 5 years. There are thousands of girls in the city. She might look like her, but we can't jump to conclusions." But Elise couldn't take her eyes off the girl. There was something in her stance and the way she looked at the building that felt familiar. She seemed both lost and purposeful at the same time, and her gaze carried an emotion that made Elise's chest ache. Without thinking, Elise picked up her coat and ran to the elevator, urging Jonathan to follow. When they reached the ground floor, the girl had moved closer to the building, standing under a small streetlight. She was shivering in the cold rain, and her clothes were soaked. Elise knelt down in front of her, holding out her hands. "Hello," Elise said softly. "Are you okay? What's your name?" The girl looked at her for a long moment, then whispered, "Mara." Jonathan exchanged a look with Elise. "Mara?" he said carefully. "Where are your parents?" Mara shook her head. I don't know." Elise felt her heart tighten. She reached out slowly, letting Mara take her hand. "Come with us," she said gently. "You can stay with us for now. We'll help you." Mara hesitated, her eyes flicking to Jonathan, then back to Elise. Something in his posture seemed to warn her, but her small hand slipped into Elise's without resistance. "Okay," she said softly. As they brought Mara into the mansion, Elise noticed something unusual. The girl's eyes didn't just reflect light. They seemed to see things beyond the room. She watched the holographic screens flicker in the hallway and tilted her head as if she understood every symbol, every code. Jonathan noticed it too. "That's unusual for a child," he murmured. Elise was too focused on Mara to respond. She led her to a guest room and handed her a warm towel. Mara dried herself quickly, then looked around the room as if it were familiar. "It's beautiful," she said quietly. "You can stay here tonight," Elise said, her voice gentle. "Tomorrow we can figure everything out." Mara nodded but didn't lie down immediately. Instead, she walked slowly to the window, looking out at the city lights. Elise felt a pang of recognition. That had been Lily's favorite thing, to watch the city from high above, imagining she could touch the stars. Later that night, Elise couldn't sleep. She walked down the hall to check on Mara. The girl was sitting on the floor, legs crossed, staring at the holographic display on the wall. When Elise approached, the screen suddenly changed, showing a map of stars and planets that Elise had never seen before. "Mara, what is this?" Elise asked softly. Mara looked at her, her eyes serious. "It's where I came from," she said. "And where I need to go." Elise's breath caught. "Yeah, what came from—" she began, but Mara shook her head. "Not here," she said. "Far away, far beyond your world." Jonathan, who had come down to check on the commotion, looked at the map in awe. This is impossible, he muttered. These coordinates? They're not even in our galaxy. Mara nodded. I remember. Some things. But not everything. I only know I belong here with you. Her voice was small but determined. Elise's heart ached. This child, this mysterious Mara, had an aura that felt both alien and familiar. She could not explain it, but she knew deep inside that Mara was connected to Lily somehow. Jonathan, however, remained cautious. Elise, we need to be careful. If she really comes from wherever she says, there could be risks. People, creatures might be looking for her. Elise nodded but ignored the fear that crept into her chest. She's our daughter, she said firmly. I don't care what she is. I can feel it. She's Lily. The next few days were strange and tense. Mara adapted quickly to life in the mansion. She read books at incredible speed, solved puzzles that even Jonathan found challenging, and seemed to know how the advanced AI in their home worked without any instructions. Elise found it comforting, seeing her child so intelligent and curious, yet every so often, Mara would gaze out the window at the stars, a deep longing in her eyes. One evening, while Jonathan and Elise were preparing dinner, Mara quietly left the room. Elise noticed and followed her, finding Mara kneeling by a small device hidden under the bed. It projected a holographic star map, highlighting one distant planet in a galaxy far away. The lines connecting stars moved as if alive, pulsing softly. Elise, what is this? Jonathan asked, entering the room quietly. Mara looked up. It's where I came from, she said. I don't remember everything, but this is home. Jonathan exchanged a worried look with Elise. Home? He repeated. You mean, not Earth? Mara nodded, her small shoulders straightening. Not Earth, I was sent here, but I remembered some things. Enough to find you. Elise felt tears prick her eyes. You remembered us? She whispered. Mara nodded and took Elise's hand, holding it tightly. I remembered love, she said simply. That's why I came back. But the peace was not to last. A few nights later, the mansion's security system detected movement near the perimeter. Shadows moved quickly across the property, and Jonathan immediately activated the defense protocols. A group of people in high-tech suits arrived, their faces hidden behind helmets that reflected the lights of the mansion. Jonathan Hartman? Elisa Hartman? The lead figure called out. We need the child. She belongs to the program. Elise stepped forward, protective and fierce. Who are you? What do you mean, belongs to the program? The figure hesitated. She is part of a special project. We cannot explain everything here, but she must return with us. It is a matter of safety, for her and for others. Jonathan's jaw tightened. We will not hand over this child. Whoever you are, you cannot take her from us. Mara stepped forward, small but resolute. I don't want to go, she said firmly. I belong here with them, with my parents. The figures exchanged glances. One of them spoke again. We warned you. She cannot stay. There are forces looking for her. They are dangerous. If she stays, it will put everyone in danger. Elise knelt down, holding Mara close. We will protect her. No one takes her from us. Not now, not ever. Jonathan activated the mansion's advanced security system fully. Holographic barriers rose and defensive drones hovered silently, ready to respond. The tension was palpable, the air thick with anticipation. Mara looked at her parents, fear and trust mingling in her eyes. She took a deep breath. I'm ready, she said quietly. Let's face them together. Outside, the rain poured harder, the city lights reflecting off puddles like molten gold. The first night of a new chapter had begun, one that would test their courage, their love, and the limits of what it meant to be human. The universe was watching, and for the Hartmans, nothing would ever be the same again. The rain had stopped, leaving the city glistening under a silver moon. The Hartman mansion stood tall and silent, except for the faint hum of its security systems and the soft breathing of its occupants. Mara sat near the window, staring at the stars. There was something in her eyes, a mixture of fear, wonder, and longing. She had come to the Hartmans as if drawn by a force she could not fully explain, and now she felt the weight of two worlds on her small shoulders. Elise knelt beside her, brushing Mara's damp hair from her face. Mara, I know this is confusing, she said gently. But we are here. You are safe with us. You don't have to face anything alone. Mara's lips trembled, and for a moment her alien-like intelligence seemed to waver under the warmth of human care. I remember more now, she whispered. The place I came from, the people, they were not like us. They value knowledge and strength, but not love. They trained me to be clever and strong, but I never forgot. You? Jonathan stood behind them, arms crossed, watching the scene silently. He had seen many strange things in his life as a technology and space magnate, but nothing had prepared him for this. The girl in front of him was extraordinary. She had the face of the daughter he had lost and the abilities of someone from beyond human understanding. A sudden beep from the mansion's security system drew their attention. Outside, at the edge of the property, a strange ship hovered silently. It was sleek, dark, and unlike anything built on Earth. Lights pulsed along its edges, and a soft, almost musical hum filled the air. Jonathan stepped forward, pressing his hand to the holographic display, analyzing the craft. They're here, he said simply, eyes narrowing. They came for her. Mara stood slowly, her small hands trembling. I have to face them, she said, her voice stronger than her body betrayed. I need to understand why they took me, why they sent me here. But I also want to stay. Elise took Mara's hand. You're not alone. We will face them together. You are our daughter, and no one can take you from us while we stand by your side. The ship's surface shimmered and a panel opened. Figures emerged, tall and slender, wearing suits that glowed faintly in the dim light. Their faces were hidden behind masks, but their posture spoke of authority and power. Jonathan moved in front of Mara protectively. Identify yourselves, he demanded. One figure stepped forward, raising a hand. We mean no harm, it said in a calm, melodic voice. We come as guardians to return her to the program that created her. She is not just human, she is a bridge. The universe depends on her. Elise's brow furrowed. Bridge, what do you mean? She's a child, not a tool. She is both, the figure replied. She carries abilities that can connect worlds. Her intelligence, her empathy, and her human heart are rare. She can bring balance where others cannot. But she must come with us, or the consequences will be dire. Mara's eyes widened, but she held Elise's hand tighter. I don't want to go, she said softly, though determination grew in her voice. I want to stay with my family. I remember love. That is more important than power. The alien's calm expression didn't change. Love is rare, but it can guide her. That is why we allowed her to choose. But the decision must be made now. The galaxy will not wait. Jonathan's mind raced. He realized that these beings had the power to take Mara by force, but their respect for choice meant something. It gave them a small advantage, and he knew they had to act carefully. Then she chooses, he said firmly. She chooses her family, and if you try to take her by force, we will not stand aside. The lead alien looked at Mara. Are you certain, child? Once you choose, your path will diverge from the others of your kind. Mara took a deep breath, looking first at the stars, then at her parents. I choose them. I choose home. I choose love. For a moment, silence filled the air. Then the alien stepped back. Very well. Your choice is accepted. But know this, child, the universe will watch you. Your journey has just begun. The figures retreated into their ship, which rose silently and disappeared into the night sky. Mara collapsed into Elise's arms, trembling but relieved. It's over? She asked. For now, Elise said, stroking her hair. You're safe. You're home. Days turned into weeks, and Mara began to adapt fully to life at the Hartman mansion. She learned about Earth in ways she had never known before. She enjoyed simple things like walking in the garden, baking with Elise, and reading bedtime stories. But she also demonstrated abilities that astonished Jonathan. She could solve complex engineering problems in minutes, interact with AI systems in ways humans could not, and occasionally predicted events before they happened. Despite her abilities, Mara remained humble and deeply human at heart. She never used her powers for selfish gain. Instead, she focused on learning, helping, and understanding. Elise often watched her daughter and marveled at the balance Mara carried, an alien mind wrapped in a human heart. One afternoon, Jonathan received a message from one of his interstellar contacts. It contained scans of the galaxy, showing strange energy patterns emanating from Mara's original home planet. He realized that even though Mara had chosen to stay, forces in the universe still recognized her as special. They had been watching, waiting for the right moment to see if she could change the course of events. Elise noticed his worried expression. "Jonathan, what is it?" she asked. "We're being observed," he said. "Not in a threatening way, I think. But the galaxy knows she is here, and her abilities could influence more than we understand." Mara, who had been listening quietly, nodded. "I know," she said. "But I also know that love and courage are stronger than fear. I have learned that from you. From this home. I am ready for whatever comes next." As the weeks passed, Mara's presence began to impact more than just the Hartmans. Jonathan noticed improvements in his company's projects. Machines worked faster, AI learned more efficiently, and even human teams performed better under Mara's subtle guidance. It was as if her understanding of both human emotion and advanced logic created a harmony that elevated everyone around her. Word of a prodigious child in the city eventually spread, though carefully kept private. Mara's story became a symbol, quietly inspiring scientists, engineers, and families. They marveled at what a child could achieve when nurtured with love and guidance. One evening, Mara stood on the balcony, looking at the stars once again. Elise joined her, and they stood in silence for a while. "I used to be afraid," Mara said finally. "Afraid I wouldn't belong anywhere, but now I feel strong because I know where I belong." "I belong with you," Elise hugged her tightly. "And we belong with you. Every day, every moment, we are your family. Nothing in the universe can change that." Jonathan joined them, placing a hand on Mara's shoulder. "You've taught us something too," he said. "That courage, love, and intelligence together are a force no one can defeat. Humanity has a place in the galaxy, and you are living proof of that." Mara smiled, a smile that carried the warmth of countless suns. "Then I will use what I've learned. I will help others just as you helped me. I will be the bridge they hoped I could be, but on my own terms, with love guiding me." Months later, the alien guardians returned, not with demands, but with a message of recognition. Mara had made her choice, and the universe had acknowledged it. She had demonstrated that human emotion, compassion, and ingenuity could balance even the greatest powers. The guardians left her with a small device, a tool to explore knowledge safely, a gift and a reminder of her unique heritage. Life at the Hartman mansion returned to a new normal. Mara thrived, blending her extraordinary abilities with everyday human experiences. She learned to walk among humans while secretly carrying knowledge of the stars. Jonathan and Elise watched her grow, proud of the courage she showed, and grateful that the daughter they thought they lost had returned, not just alive, but stronger, wiser, and more remarkable than they could have ever imagined. One quiet evening, Mara stood alone on the balcony, gazing at the galaxy. She whispered softly, "I am both of this world and another, but here with them I am home." And in that moment she understood the truth she had been seeking all her life. No matter how vast the universe, no matter how extraordinary her abilities, the greatest power was the love of family. It was the force that could defy galaxies, protect the innocent, and create hope even in the darkest corners of space. Mara turned back inside, smiling at her parents. Together they walked into the mansion, ready to face the future, whatever it held. They knew the universe would challenge them again, but for the first time in 5 long years, the Hartmans felt complete, united, and stronger than ever. The stars above twinkled in quiet approval, and somewhere across the infinite expanse of space, forces beyond imagination watched, acknowledging that humanity, its courage, its love, and its heart was a force unlike any other, and Mara, the child who had returned from the stars, was living proof.